Hey guys, Lore Master here, and welcome back to episode 2 of our Java Complete Guide tutorial series. And in this episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to create your first class and sort of how to use standard Java convention when it comes to creating packages and projects, how to organize them clean so other people can read them, so you can read them, and just sort of get the basics of how to get a class up and running so that you can actually code inside of it, which is, you know, the fun part of actually coding in Java, which we want to get to, and I'll be getting into in episode 3. But for right now, we're going to be talking about packages and classes. So first thing, you know, we're in our new Eclipse, beautiful IDE here. You can see it's totally blank, ton of icons, super overwhelming, but do not worry about any of that stuff right now because we're going to be starting with the basics. So on your left here, you'll see that we have a package explorer, and this is just a window to allow you to organize your packages. It is literally an explorer of packages. So you can right click on this package explorer and you'll see a new button right here. And if you hover over that new button, you'll see there's a ton of different options and folders and files. You got untitled text files, interfaces, those classes that I was talking about. But right now we want to make a Java project so we can organize all of our stuff under one project. So click that Java project folder, or sorry, button. And you'll see here that we have the option to assign a project name, and definitely do this. I want to name mine Java Tutorial probably, but you can name yours whatever you want, whatever is helpful for you. But in this case, probably want to name it Java Tutorial. And make sure that your execution environment is anywhere from 1.8 to 11. I actually wouldn't recommend using 11 right now because you can see here that there are some problems with the compiler. So I would honestly say Java SE 1.8 is the best right now. And you can sort of leave everything as it is. We want the default location because that is our workspace. And we can hit finish. You can see here that we have on the left hand side our Java project, which is super exciting. And if you hit this little arrow right here, you can see that we have our system library and our source folder. So do not worry about the system library right here. This is all of the Java stuff that we actually are going to access later on in our tutorial series, but we don't need it right now. It doesn't matter, so just close that up. What you do need to worry about is this source folder, or I guess not worry about, but pay attention to for sure, which is essentially the folder where all of our code is going to be going into. And I just want to show right now that if we go to our desktop and we go to the coding folder and you go to your workspace, wherever you put it, in my case I put it right in our coding folder, you can see here that we do actually have, and I'll go back to Eclipse here, we do actually have the Java project called Java Tutorial now represented as an actual folder in our workspace. And if we click it, you can see here that we have a source folder and a bin folder. And this is just like in our package explorer here. And if you click that source folder, you can see, of course, it's empty. But just so you know that when we're doing this in the package explorer, we're not sort of creating arbitrary boxes to put code in. We're actually creating real files inside of your workspace. And you're essentially just putting text files in there full of Java code. That's all it is. Not very scary. I know it seems kind of scary at first, but you're literally just filling a folder with text files. So, or we will be doing that in the future. So you can kind of get this, make that go away. And we can go back to Eclipse, and inside of our source folder, we can right click this, and we want to create a new package. And the reason we want a new package and not a class is because packages allow us to organize our classes into categories, which is super helpful when we're actually looking at code. So you want to name your package anything that is going to help you sort of understand the category that you're placing it as. So this is think of this as a large, broad umbrella, and you'll be putting smaller subcategories in that umbrella. So what do you want to name this umbrella? Well, in my case, I want to name it tutorial. Finish, and you can see here that we have our tutorial package, and you always want to name your packages as undercase letters. You never want to start it with a capital letter because you'll be saving that for classes, and that's a very important distinction you need to make. So inside of our package here, we can actually create our first class. So right click on your tutorial package or whatever you named it and hit new and then hit class. And you'll see here, looks a little scary, but it's not that scary. We want to give it a name, and you want the name to correlate to whatever this specific class is going to be. So in this case, I want to name this main, and I'll go into a little bit more detail once we create it, why that is, because it's very important. But in this case, I would make a main folder, or a main class, sorry, not a folder, a class. So make sure you have a capital letter because that's how we distinguish a package from a class. So in this case, main with a capital M, and you don't need to worry about any of this other stuff right now. Just hit finish. And you can see here that it looks like a little text file with a J, and this is our class. So just so you know, we have project, folder, package, and class. That's what sort of they look like. And this is just a .java folder or file, sorry. And inside of here, we now have a little bit of code, which is the inside of our main.java file. And you can sort of read this like regular English. It's not too hard to understand. So you can see here that up here at the top, we always have the actual pathway of the file. So this is where the file is located, and you can see here that the file is located in package tutorial. So all it's saying is inside of the tutorial package is our main class, and you can see further proof of that by clicking on the tutorial folder inside of your file explorer, and you can see that main.java is in fact in the tutorial package. So that's pretty standard. And also here we have, again, standard. It's worded a little bit weird if you're not familiar with Java syntax, but we can see that this is a public class named main. And that's all it really is saying. It's public, it's a class, and its name is main. And these little brackets will represent a sort of box within which to put your code. But don't worry about any of that right now. That's for the next episode. All you need to know is that this is sort of telling you what the class is, its name, and where it is. And the reason you want to name this specific class main is because every single Java application is going to have one main class. And this is very important to remember because you will have projects in the future that have hundreds and hundreds of classes and packages and folders and files, but they will always only ever have one main class. And that is because there's always one class in an application that runs your code. And that is, in this case, the main class. So make sure that you only ever have one class titled main, or something similar to main, like application start or application run, whatever you want it to name it. Make sure that it's the one main folder, and that's what this will be in this case. So we'll be going into what you actually have to do to make this the main folder later on, but just know that that is why you want to name this main. And you can have multiple other classes, so we can create a new package in tutorial called tutorial.materials. And you can see here that rather than naming it something, rather than deleting tutorial and naming it something else, we're actually making it an extension of tutorial, and that's because we want it to be a subcategory under the tutorial package. So we're adding a dot after the tutorial and then putting a new name. You can hit finish. You can see here that we have tutorial.materials, but this is kind of ugly, we don't like the way this looks. So I would encourage you to go to this little triangle right here, or wherever it is on IntelliJ, and hit view menu, package presentation, and hierarchical. And that's because right now we're viewing it as a flat just list, but we want to see the hierarchy. So if you click on this, you can see here that it's a lot prettier in my opinion. You can see that the materials package is actually inside of the tutorial package, which is super helpful. And you can see here that the main main class is inside of the tutorial, not the materials. And we can right click on materials, create a new class, and name it special materials. And you can see here now that we kind of have a basic program. This doesn't actually do anything yet. If you hit run up here, this little green run button, nothing will happen. But we do have an organization of our folders, which is and files, which is very important before starting your actual application. And you can see here that it's all very visual. You can sort of see what's under what. And again, if you ever need help in understanding that, you can always go to the actual physical folders and sort of browse them and see that, oh, special materials is inside of the materials folder, and that is inside of the tutorial folder, which is inside of the source folder, which is inside of the Java tutorial project, which is inside of our workspace. And that should sort of give you a broad understanding of how these actual packages and classes are being organized. So finally, the last thing we want to do is make sure that we save this presentation that we have, this organization of our folders, by going up to the left corner here and hitting save all. If you click this, it'll be grayed out and it will save all of your stuff. And if it's grayed out already, that means that you haven't made any significant changes for it to save, or it already is saved. So don't worry about that. And you can exit out now confident that your package presentation is the way you want it to be. But I actually don't want these classes hogging up my space because I don't need them. They were just tests. So I'm going to delete this special materials class and this materials package, and just make sure that I have a source folder, my tutorial package, and my main class. And again, we'll be doing stuff with this main class next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I know it was super boring. No one ever wants to talk or learn about package presentation, but it's super important when you're coding to sort of build a foundation, and we'll be starting our code next episode, and I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next episode.